Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name is Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today, we're going to be taking a look at a very expensive Charizard. Except, it's not the Charizard you're probably expecting. Now, we've spoken on this channel over the past couple of weeks about the Charizard from Hidden Fates, by which I mean the shiny Charizard from Hidden Fates. And we've talked about the fact that if you go ahead and get it graded and get a black label Beckett, well, all of a sudden you might just end up with a $10,000 card. Except you don't really have a $10,000 card. And look, I know that the early ones did come in at $10,000. We may well end up doing a bit of a roundup, a bit of a follow-up in the future. Yes, the first couple sold for $10,000. No, you almost certainly will not get $10,000 if you try selling it now. But it's the shiny Charizard, right? This shiny Charizard is not to be sniffed at. This shiny Charizard is a very expensive Charizard. But ladies and gentlemen, that is not the Charizard we are talking about today. Now, we are still very much in Hidden Fates. We are talking about the Hidden Fates Charizard. Except we're not quite talking about Hidden Fates Charizard. We are talking about the Hidden Fates tin promo Charizard. Same as the Charizard that you get in Hidden Fates, but you buy a tin, and this is in the tin, and it has, shall we say, slightly different artwork. Still the same card. And as a side note about the card is great. The card is legitimately seeing a lot of play at the moment. Now, essentially, the card as a playable entity serves one purpose. And the purpose is that in a Mewtwo and Mew deck, you use this, you copy it. Now, it is a stage 2, but Mewtwo and Mew has the lovely ability Perfection, which allows you to copy the attacks of any Tag Team GX either in play, on your side of the field, or in your discard pile. So you get this Charizard in the discard pile, you copy the attack with Mewtwo and Mew, and essentially, you use Welder, and hopefully you go first. Turn 1, you attach an energy. Turn 2, you attach an energy. On one of those turns, you use a Welder, and then you copy Charizard to hit for 300 damage using the GX attack. 4 energy 140, no. 4 energy 300 even as a GX attack, yes. All of the yes. It's wonderful against other Tag Team GX decks. It's wonderful in the mirror match where the other person is playing the same deck, but essentially here you go first, and when your opponent's had a single turn, you get a one-hit KO on a Tag Team GX, take 3 prizes, go towards winning the game. That is the use. That is all you do. That is the one niche use for this Charizard, but that doesn't matter. It's a playable card, and it being a playable card is very, very important. But why are we talking about this? And the reason is, here's what the card is supposed to look like. And here is the version we're talking about here. The lovely bird Keeper Toby, who I'm sure a bunch of you will know about. He's a fairly popular chap. He went and got one of these in his Charizard tin. And this is not your regular Charizard. It's miscut. By miscut, we mean it doesn't sit square like it should on the card. It is a little bit all over the place. Now, some miscuts are slightly off-center, etc. This is a phenomenally miscut card. It is all over the place. Now, here's what the front looks like. Here's what the back looks like. Although it might be slightly more instructive to look at a comparison that Toby has provided us here. And what we see is, here's the front compared to what it's supposed to look like. You'll notice the swathe of silver on the left-hand side of the card, and then a little bit on the bottom that just show how off-center it is. And, although actually you do get even more artwork because the wing kind of carries on, so on the left-hand side of the card, you do actually get some bonus artwork you don't usually see on the card. Yes, it's a little bit of the wing, but I don't care, bonus artwork. And here you can see it compared to a regular back, and you'll notice the right-hand side has a very, very fat border, and the left-hand side has a very thin to no border. And on the top and the bottom, yeah, they're not even close. That is not a flat horizontal line. Sorry. And Toby reached out to me when he got this card. He said, Wazzy, you might know about this. How much is this card worth? I've had some offers about this card, people willing to buy it, but I don't know how much to sell it for. And my answer to him, and I spoke to the lovely Dan Norton, lovely chap, very knowledgeable on such matters, and the conclusion was, to be blunt, no one really knows. The thing about miscuts are they're very rare, they're very unique, and there are some people that love them and some people that hate them. You see, if we go back to the $10,000 Charizard, it is a black label 10, a perfect, pristine 10, 10, 10, 10, as in all four of the categories get a 10. Shiny Charizard from Shiny Vault in Hidden Fates. So we know exactly what that is. And there are a certain amount of them, and we can see, especially now that a few have been sold and the value, like I say, has dropped, we can look at them and go, right, this is the value of that card. Because we can look at other cards that have sold and go, right, here's what they're worth. But when it comes to a miscut, they're so unique and so rare that we don't know. I mean, look, if you're not into miscuts, this has basically no value because you go, well, I want a proper Charizard. But if you're into miscuts, it has quite a lot more value because, like I've said, this isn't just some little miscut. This is a giant miscut. And if you're looking to trade or sell into the miscut community, the more miscut, the better. And my advice was either you get it graded, or you don't get it graded, you whack it on eBay and see what happens. He did whack it on eBay. He did see what happened, and what happened was £460 off of 46 bids, and it makes me very happy that those numbers match together so nicely. Now, I know that a majority of my audience is over the pond over in the USA, so if we use XE, the app, to do a little bit of currency conversion, we can see that £460 sterling, what we have over in the UK, equates to $566. So the question then becomes, all right, well, what's that in terms of value? And when it comes to value, we can see quite clearly, because it's very easy for me to go and look at popular sites and go, right, if I was trying to buy a card right now, today, how much could I buy it for? Now, if we look at the regular tin version of this Charizard GX, I could run out today and buy a copy of this card for somewhere in the region of about £3. That's roughly what you're paying here. I could go and get a copy of this for £3. So it's not particularly valuable at all. So, I mean, just straight off the bat, he's gone from a £3 card to a £460 card, which is more than 150 times the original value. Now, the thing is that the tin promo is always a little bit less value than the card. The regular card in the set usually attracts a little bit more value, and I could go and pick up a copy of this for somewhere in the region of like £4 or £5. So, yeah. It's not a terribly valuable card. But the real question is, and the thing that really interests me, how has he done in terms of actually buying a shiny Charizard GX? Now, by which I mean an English version of the card, because the Japanese version and other European languages are not so expensive. And the answer is, I could pick one up for somewhere in the region of about £300. If I go onto Card Market right now, I can buy a copy, an English copy, and I can have that shipped to me for about £300. Which means that Toby's Miscut Charizard is worth approximately 1.5 times a shiny Charizard. Now, we all go a bit nuts when we pull shiny Charizards. At least I imagine I would. I haven't pulled one yet. Boo, etc. Toby has, incidentally, so, you know. Bit lucky, right? Getting that and this. Come on. But he's ended up with a card which is worth about 1.5 times a shiny Charizard, which is the card from Hidden Fates. It is a coveted card. Except I would be remiss if I did not mention in this video that there is one more factor at play. And that is that Bird Keeper Toby is a rather popular chap. You see, if you head over to his YouTube channel, he has 208,000 subscribers. Now, I'm pretty gosh darn chuffed that I've recently hit over 43,000. I think I'm doing pretty gosh darned well for myself. But to put it bluntly, Bird Keeper Toby's making me look a bit like a chump. And the thing is that this was not some blind auction. This was an auction done, and as he should have done, incidentally, I would have done a similar thing. He auctioned it with pictures of him holding the card. He tweeted it out. He let it be known that it was very much his auction. So we do have to consider the fact that the price may have been pushed up a little bit because people were ordering a card from one of their favourite YouTubers, which is something that people are most of the time going to be willing to pay a little bit more for. So what's our conclusion here? Our conclusion is threefold. Firstly, miscut cards are almost impossible to actually try and attribute a value to. This card is worth more than a shiny Charizard, but this card is worth a little bit more if sold by a lovely man who has quite the following. So there we go. Toby did suggest I did a video about this, and I thought, you know what? That sounds kind of interesting, so I said, I'll tell you what, if you go and share it out and try and get some people to come and watch it, I'll make the video. So Toby, if you're watching, I hope I did it justice. Everybody else, I'd like to know what you think about this. How much value do you think a card like this has or should have? Are you interested in miscut Pokemon cards, or do you not see what the fuss is about? Go nuts in the comment section, but please do remember the rule. Be nice, would you? And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassyPlays, where we talk about a whole bunch of cards that don't even have any Pokemon in. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.